Welcome to Heal with Gracen. I am so excited to talk about today's conversation about love and hate and how love cannot exist without hate. So let's get into it. At the very beginning of my energy healing journey, this one medium recommended that I take the time to journal and jot down what the different emotions mean to me. And so I'm still on this emotional learning journey, and one of the things that I've been inspired to talk about today and what I feel so aligned to discuss today is, what does the emotion of hate mean? What can it teach us? And how we basically are going to move through our lifetime and our daily lives in general, experiencing both extremes. So both of those emotions, and both of those emotions are on the same side, or I shouldn't say the same side, but they're on the same emotional coin, if that makes any sense. They are polar opposites of each other, and one cannot exist without the other because they're both here to teach us something, for us to experience life, and it's basically how we feel and learn and grow on a soul level, right? And I've been feeling so inspired to specifically talk about how we experience these emotions, especially through social media and also within our relationships. And one of the things that I am meant to do in this lifetime is to make a massive impact on the collective consciousness of humanity, as well as teach souls on an individual level how they can transform their own lives, like basically giving the power back to people. And anyway, something so interesting that I thought of the other day was, I've been having a really hard time pushing myself and getting myself to be consistent on TikTok and really grow on TikTok. And it's because, one, I'm so sensitive to energies and I can feel the extremes. I can feel the extremes so intensely. I can feel the extreme frequency of love, and I can feel the extreme frequency of hate. And it can be overwhelming. It can be very overwhelming to my energy, especially my nervous system, and just a bunch of the energy healing I've had to do to get to this point to handle such a massive energetic transmission of love, such a massive energetic transmission of hate, and how there's going to be both love and hate no matter where I show up, whether it's online, in person. And I just thought about that. I thought about how much coexisting has been happening this whole time, my entire lifetime, and how it's going to continue to happen even when I leave, when I pass away. And so anyways, I just think that's so interesting, and I feel like a lot of us who are here to make a big difference, including myself, I feel like we all run away from really stepping into the spotlight and putting ourselves out there because it's like this deep fear of like being rejected, this deep fear of feeling that hatred, and it's like the exact opposite of what you desire to put out there, right? It's like you're coming from this place of pure intentions, of educating and wanting to inspire and wanting to heal, but because you're coming from that one side of the emotional token, naturally, consequently, you're going to experience the other extreme. Like that is just how this universe works. That is how this particular universe works. And it's just so funny how like we try to fight that until we just like stop fighting it and stop resisting and just surrender to that, and just instead of looking at it through a specific lens of like fuck you and like ugh, like why do you have to come at me like that? And it's like looking at those souls through this lens of cultivating compassion and understanding, because it's by understanding that the emotion of hate is an indicator of unresolved trauma and hurt. And so all of this unconditional love that we're pouring out, all of this wisdom that we're pouring out, all these pure intentions that we're pouring out, it's literally triggering people's unresolved trauma and hurt to the depths of their consciousness, like the depths of their soul, the depths of their being, which is why we're met with that, which is why we're met with that reflection of that emotion in other people. It reflects our deepest fears, their deepest fears. It reflects our insecurities, their deepest insecurities, and also our own unresolved wounds and their unresolved wounds. And one of the examples that's coming up right now was this cook that I work with, and I barely work with him. I work with him like one day. And he literally, I was talking to my other coworker and I said, oh yeah, I'm most definitely a certified hater. Like, I hate this guy. But it really, like, it wasn't about him. It was about his energy, his low vibrational energy, triggering this inner deep hurt, this unresolved hurt that I still have within my own energy, that I wasn't going to see had I not had this interaction with this guy. Right? Like, I had to interact with this guy. He had to piss me off, trigger my wounded theme of consciousness of violation, right? Like, he had to trigger what was going to show up, which was, hey, you're going to reveal my strong boundary towards behaviors that I deem unacceptable and intolerable. And because he triggered this within me, it was like I was projecting unconsciously this unresolved hurt onto him and saying, you know what, I hate you. But in reality, it's like I don't really hate him. I hated him in that moment for, like, you know, the temporary emotion when I was feeling it. But at the end of the day, it was like I really was just projecting this unresolved hurt onto him, and I was just using him as a distraction. And so hate is typically a manifestation of pain or fear or both. And so by becoming aware of this, it allows us to foster deeper understanding and compassion for ourselves and other souls. Now, I understand in the moment, in the heat of the moment, going through like that intense situation, that scenario, you're not going to be feeling compassionate. You're not going to be feeling understanding. You're going to be like, fuck this person. Like, fuck you. You can go fuck yourself, right? But after we move through that emotion of hate, we can sit down later, journal about it, you know, put a little notes in our phone and say, oh my gosh, like what is here for me? What was this person triggering in me? Why was there such a strong emotional reaction? Like, why did he drive me to react in such a powerful way? Like, what's here? And it's just so interesting. It's so interesting how the emotion of hate can teach us that we're projecting our own inner conflicts onto other people. And it also shows us how we externalize our own struggles rather than addressing them within in the first place. And sometimes that's necessary. Sometimes it is necessary for us to come into contact with certain souls so that we have those uncomfortable, intense arguments or interactions, because it's allowing us to see something deeper going on within. And one thing I noticed today, just reflecting on this, was I was driving down the interstate, leaving the grocery store, and there was a guy driving his Jeep, and he was being an asshole. Like, he wouldn't let me over. Like, he was being a dick. He was speeding up on purpose. I'm like, okay, asshole. Like, I cut in front of him, like, at the last second, because I was like, you're either going to hit me or you're going to move. Because there was just no way. Like, it was either me running into, like, a tractor trailer truck, or it was, you know, me doing that. And so I did that. And he literally, he flicks me off, right? Like, he's following me, flicking me off. He merges over. Like, I'm sure he was, like, looking out his window waiting to curse me out, right? But in the moment where he flicked me off, it didn't trigger anything inside of me. Like, I was so unbothered. And so there was, like, no inner hurt, no unresolved trauma that he triggered. And because I was in such an unbothered state, my natural instinct was to blow him a kiss. I was like, mwah. Like, you're my biggest fan. Like, you're my biggest worshiper. And it literally, I could feel him get so triggered. I could feel him projecting his unresolved hurt, his unresolved trauma onto me. And I specifically felt it on my right arm. Like, that's typically where I feel other people's projections and negative energies that they send to me or project onto me. And I sent it back while I was driving. And so in that moment, I was like, wow, like, I'm so unbothered. Like, I don't give a fuck. And, like, I forgot about him, and I just kept moving on about my day. And I just think that's really interesting, and it's something to definitely take a note of when that emotion shows up for you in your relationships, through social media, through your career, your job, okay? Like, just make a note of when that emotion is showing up and what is underneath that emotion, because all emotions are emotional decoys, because there's something deeper. There's deeper energetic wounding there. There's deeper pain there. There is deep fear there, deep insecurities there, unresolved wounds, unresolved trauma, unresolved hurt. And so next time that emotion of hate gets triggered in your energy, just, you know, make a mental note of, like, I'm going to deal with this later. Like, there's something here for me, but in this moment, I'm going to respond, I'm going to react, right? And I know a bunch of spiritual teachers will say, like, when you emotionally react and you emotionally unravel, like you are giving your power away. And yes, that is 100% true. However, sometimes we have to organically, naturally allow ourselves to feel that hate and to emotionally react and to emotionally respond in order to learn and become aware of what it is that we need to learn and become aware of, if that makes any sense. Okay, we can't just perfectly move through our lifetime and be like, you know what, I'm not going to emotionally respond, when you really need to. Like, you need to release that emotion out of you in some way. You need to release it through conversation, moving through conflict, and deciding to energetically let it go after that, after a compromise has been reached. Or you can release it through the gym or through swimming or by going on a walk, like physically moving it out of you. Otherwise, if you internalize that hate within, it's going to manifest as disease and dysfunction in your body, and your body is not going to be 100% fully healed. So just be aware of that. Like, internalizing your emotions is the perfect recipe for causing dis-ease in the body and the mind and your soul. Okay? So, yeah, I just wanted to talk about that today. I know it's a super short conversation, but super important. And, if you're meant to do something big out here like I am, don't get discouraged by the hate that you're going to receive. Like, just remember what it is at the deepest levels of itself and where it's manifesting from, okay? And I feel like that is going to help you stay encouraged, stay empowered, and maintain you standing in your authenticity and what you're here to do and what you're here to share and who you're here to be, okay? So just make a mental note of that, and that is all I had to talk about today. Super short conversation. I hope you guys are doing really well. We just started our new 6-month cycle of this. I think it was a lunar eclipse we had. So yeah, this new eclipse season, lots of changes are going to be happening over the next 6-month cycle. So good luck with that, everybody. I love you guys so much, and I will see you guys on our next podcast conversation. Bye for now. I love y'all so, so much. Thank you for being here.